Servus my friends, welcome back to the Bavarian outback. Today we talk a little bit about an emergency oven, emergency heating for your little shed. And I say especially emergency. It will work properly, but you should just use it in emergency case. Yeah, for heating up your room or your cabin or your tent maybe. First of all, you make a little bit oven theory, because every oven works the same. And I built the emergency oven out of an old smoker, and you can use anything out of metal which cannot burn, which is fireproof. So you can use an old jerry can, you can use anything which is closed, and the smoker is two pieces, so you have to seal it and then it's also closed. So that's what I just want to say to you in the beginning, because you can improvise and you can build it with everything out of steel that you can find. Important thing is, if this is your metal body, it's always the same. You need two openings. One opening which sucks the air in, and one opening, the chimney, which blows the steam out. And that's the same thing for everything. Very cool or very useful is when you have something where you can put in old bricks or old stones, so that you can save the heat in there, so that it will last. Even when the fire gets out, the heat will last for about 2 hours, 3 hours. If you have really good stones, it may last maybe for 4 hours. So it's very easy. That's the room where you make the fire in. That's the opening. Has to be much smaller. That's the opening which sucks in the air so that the fire can burn. And that's the opening, the chimney. And the chimney has to go outside. That's very important. I made a video for the chimney, how it works, that the chimney goes through the wall. It's up here. And that's the most important thing, that you are not starting a fire. But this thing, if it's fireproof and if it's out of steel, nothing will happen. So fire in here, air comes in, chimney goes to the outside, blows the steam out. That's all for the theory. Now we will start to build it out of an old smoker. Follow me outside and have fun with this video.
Damit mache ich das Loch zu. Das finde ich jetzt super. Das freut mich voll.
And now I have a ventilation flap for this little hole in my old smoker. And now you can open it a little bit and let a little bit more or a little bit less air in. And you also can fire it on with some wood. The big advantage is that the steel of the smoker is a very soft one and not such a hard one like the steel from this old saw blade was, because this was really hard to cut. Now it's a little bit wobbly here, but that's okay, because it's a ventilation flap, and the ventilation flap should let a little bit air in all the time.
And then we take a little bigger one. And then first we fix it with 2 screws and check if it fits properly.
So. Schaut doch soweit schon mal ganz gut aus.
You better use screws like this one. Completely out of steel, because when they have this little plastic ring inside, the plastic will melt, and that's not good. So then we solved the problem with the ventilation lid, and now the next part is we take a little piece of sheet metal like this one and put it down on the floor so that the fire will not burn through the whole bottom, and we can use the lid to fire it up and put the wood inside. And the next step, of course, you just do when the oven is located on its final place, because it's getting very, very heavy. I will do it now outside just for demonstration so that you can see what I'm talking about, and you of course do it inside when it has its final location. First of all, we take a big heavy block of stone, can be a cinder, can be a cement or concrete or whatever, just look that it's really, really heavy. And then let's check if we can close it. Okay, it closes properly, and the airflow should come through the lid and then over the stone into the chimney. That's very important. That's just for the firewood, that the firewood will not go completely through the whole burning area in the bottom of this old smoker. You can leave the old grit or grill inside because it's metal and it will hold the heat with no problem. For the next step, we put in the old grill and use it as the subconstruction for the terracotta bricks. The terracotta bricks are for storing the heat, and the more and the heavier you can put in, the more heat you can store. As you know it from the flower pot heater, the older the terracotta, the better the heat storage will be. So we put it in here and check if it can close. Okay, it closes properly, but we don't put it to the edge. We leave a little bit open so that the steam can get out here on the end, and we have a real good airflow through the whole body. So fill it up with as much stones as you can fit in, because the heavier and the more stones you have, the better and the longer the heat will be stored. Normally when you use bricks this heavy, you can store the heat for about 2, 3 or maybe 4 hours. That will not be a problem at all. Now we come to a very important part. When you build it out of one piece, then it is closed by itself. When you build it out of an old smoker, you need a seal around so that you don't get any steam out of this body on the rim. So the only 2 ways are the way in and the way out from the chimney. When you work with this special glass fiber seal, then you should wear gloves, especially for the glass fiber and for the glue which you put on the fiber. At your Home Depot you can buy a few different diameters of glass fiber seals. I show you 2 of them, and I would prefer for this one the bigger one. It's about 2 centimeters, what will be maybe 2/3 of an inch or something, and this will seal it completely in this case here. So take the special glue which is only made for this glass fiber seal and then stick it all around the smoker rim. I quick grab a mask because it's very dusty and it's not very healthy, and then I take a little sandpaper and clean up the rim, and then I'll see you in a second. So now it's closed and it's sealed. When the lid is heavy enough, then it's no problem because it closes by itself. If the lid is not heavy enough, then you should use a metal strap all around to give a little pressure on it to close it, or you can also use from a Volkswagen Beetle or from a Jeep Wrangler these little hood clamps and lock it with these hood clamps together, and it looks a little bit cooler when you use these old metal clamps. So far so good. The next step would be the installation in your shed and the wall passage so that you don't burn your wall or your shed down. In your Home Depot you will find prepared tubes in any size and in any length that you can use. And there are also tubes with this little ending and this grit on the end so that no animals or bugs can fly into your chimney. You can see that it burns pretty well and that almost no smoke comes out of this opening. And when you close the lid, then you can see that absolutely no smoke will come to the outside on this ventilation lid. So now it's only air intake and no air outtake anymore. And on the chimney end, you need the tubes as long as you need to get out of your cabin.
Yes, my friends, that's all for today. So just use it in emergency cases or in your tent or in your little cabin, yeah? And don't forget, it will work with any fireproof body. And improvise, yeah? That's what I want to say. If you want to survive, improvise. And don't buy crap, then you don't have to litter so much. See you next time. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.